Hello, my name is Colin Maxwell, and in Animation Across the Curriculum we'll be looking at some examples of animations that could be used in different subject areas, and also going through some step-by-step lessons in using a free animation tool to create animations of your own. Of course, if you're a teacher, you may decide to have pupils creating animations of their own as part of a class project, or perhaps you may want to create animations yourself to use for teaching or as self-study materials. First of all, let's look at a few examples of animations for a range of curriculum areas.
Pomme, orange, banane.
All of those animations were created with an animation tool called Vectorian Giotto. The software is free and offers a range of features to help you create animations. The software also has a scripting language, so for more advanced users they can use it for creating interactive animations or even simple video games. The only slight limitation is that it's only available for Windows. So let's dive in and take a look at Vectorian Giotto. So, in this first lesson on using animation in the classroom, we're going to create an animation to demonstrate a simple scientific principle, that free-falling objects, no matter their shape or weight, accelerate at the same rate. Of course, we're assuming no air resistance, and also we're using 10 meters per second as the acceleration due to gravity. But you could use a more accurate figure in your own classroom. So first, we should work out how far an object will fall over time using this formula here, where distance equals 0.5 times the acceleration due to gravity in meters per second multiplied by the time in seconds squared. You can complete a table like this, which shows the time in seconds, the distance in meters fallen, and also the number of frames of animation that we'll need to animate the objects falling. We're assuming here that we're using a frame rate of 12 frames per second. This is the animation we're going to create, showing a mouse and an elephant falling due to gravity, and falling at the same rate. So we're ready to create our first animation. Using the line tool, I'm going to draw several lines across the screen to indicate the positions of the falling objects over time. So let's draw the first line. I'm using the line tool here, and I'm going to hold down the shift key so it allows me to draw a straight line across the screen, like so. Now I want to position this at a position 5 pixels from the top of the screen. The 5 pixels is related to the distance that the object has fallen. The object will have fallen 5 meters after 1 second. So let's just position this accurately. If I choose the window menu and then the object properties, you'll see that I can accurately position the line on the X and Y axis. It's currently positioned at 40 pixels on the Y axis. I'm going to change that to 5 pixels. So simply type the number and press return. Next, I'll draw the next line. So again, holding down shift, click and drag with the line tool to create a line, then using the selection tool, select the line and then change its position on the y-axis to 20, indicating a distance of 20 meters. The next line will be positioned at 45 pixels down the screen, representing a distance in real life of 45 meters, and keep continuing to do that, drawing more and more lines and positioning them appropriately on the screen depending on the distance that the object has fallen. Okay, so now that I've drawn all of the distance lines on layer 1, I'm going to close the object properties for the time being, just to give me a bit more space. Now the animation is going to last for about 10 seconds, so that means I need 10 times 12 frames for the animation to last. So on the timeline I'm going to scroll along, find frame number 120, right click on it and insert a frame, and that extends the animation along the timeline to last for 10 seconds. Now I'm finished with layer 1, I don't want to make any more changes to it, so I'm going to just lock the layer just by clicking this dot here. It adds a padlock, and that indicates that the layer is locked and I can no longer draw on this layer. Now the next stage is to add a new layer, and this layer will contain the elephant and mouse object which we are going to animate. To insert an object, we'll choose the insert menu, choose bitmap, and then navigate to the folder containing the files that you want to import. So I'm going to choose the elephant picture here, click open, and we'll see that the elephant is a very large image. It's too big for the stage, so I'm going to zoom out by pressing Control on my keyboard and the minus sign, and I'm going to resize the elephant by using this tool here on the toolbar, the free transform tool, and by clicking and dragging on the little handles at the sides we can resize the object. We can also click on it and move it around as well and position it where we want it to go. So zooming in so that we can see it in a bit more detail, I want to place the elephant at the top of the screen so its toes are just touching the top of the stage here. Okay, and we can accurately move the elephant around by selecting it first of all and then using the arrow keys to move it up, down, left or right, pixel by pixel. Okay, so there's the elephant placed in position. I'll zoom out again, and now we'll do the same with the mouse. So choose the insert menu, bitmap, and then the file you want to import. Select the object, and using the free transform tool we want to resize the object so it's much smaller, like so, even smaller than that, and we'll zoom in so we can see it in more detail. And we're going to place the mouse over here and just make sure its feet are touching the top of the stage about there. Okay, so that's that step done. Now that we have the objects in position, we can start to animate them. Let's go up to layer 4 here, and in frame number 12 we'll right click and choose insert keyframe. Okay, and then we'll, using the selection tool, select both of the objects, the elephant and the mouse, and then using the arrow keys just move them down so that their toes are in line with the first line that we drew earlier, just here. So that's indicating that the objects have fallen this distance over the space of 1 second. After 2 seconds they will have fallen to the next line, so let's insert a keyframe at frame number 24 in the timeline, and then using the same technique, selecting the two objects and then pressing the down arrow key, we'll just move those objects, the elephant and mouse, until their toes are touching the second line. And we'll keep doing that, inserting a new keyframe every 12 frames, and then selecting the two objects and moving them into position on the stage. And keep repeating that until you've completed the keyframes for the whole animation. Okay, so now that I have all of my animation keyframes in place, I'm just going to extend the timeline along to frame number 120. So just right clicking on that frame and inserting a frame, like so, and I'll just zoom out using Control minus on my keyboard so we can see the whole stage area, and we'll use the rewind button at the top and the play button to watch our animation. So we see the elephant and mouse falling due to gravity over time, and we see that each second the objects fall a greater distance, indicating that they're accelerating due to gravity. Now the animation isn't very smooth because it's kind of jumping every 1 second. So we can smooth out the animation by adding an effect called a motion tween. So if we right click between frame 1 and 12, we can choose the option to create a motion tween, and you see a little arrow icon appears between frames 1 and 12, and we'll keep doing that between the keyframes here, just right clicking and choosing create motion tween. So just right click somewhere between each of the keyframes and choose create motion tween from the menu that appears, like so. And when we rewind and play back the animation, you'll see the animation is much more smooth. And there we have it, our animation to demonstrate this simple scientific principle. In this lesson, we're going to create a simple animation to help learners practice and remember French nouns. This lesson combines animation and sound and can be extended for more complex purposes such as teaching verbs and adjectives or for more complex sentences. This is the animation we're going to produce.
Pomme, orange, banane.
We will start by importing the graphics and placing them on the stage. Choose the Insert menu, then choose Bitmap. Locate the files you want to import. Choose the file and click Open. If the image is too big for the stage, you may need to resize it. Use Ctrl- to zoom out. Choose the Free Transform tool, select the object, and then click and drag the handles at the corners to resize the object. Once the object has been resized, place it on the stage, like so. We will repeat that process for 2 more objects. Now that I've imported the 3 graphics, we will import the sounds. We'll start by creating a new layer for the sound. Choose the new layer, then choose the Insert menu and choose Sound. Locate the file you want to import and click Open. We need to extend the timeline for a suitable length for the sound that we've imported. Click on a frame such as frame number 50 and press F5 on the keyboard to extend the timeline. A visual representation of the sound appears. We'll see that the sound lasts for only about 7 frames. We'll leave a short pause after the first sound and insert a new keyframe at frame number 15. At this point, we'll insert the next sound. We'll do the same and leave a short pause after the sound effect and insert a new keyframe at frame number 30 and import the third sound. That's the sound import completed. Next we'll deal with the animation. Let's extend layer 1 along to frame number 50. Select frame number 50, right click and choose Insert Frame. We're going to animate each object as each word is spoken. Let's choose the apple object. We already have a keyframe at frame number 1. Let's insert another keyframe at the end of the first sound. Right click and choose Insert Keyframe. We'll make another keyframe somewhere between the first and second keyframes. On this keyframe we will select the apple and using the Free Transform tool we will scale up the apple, making it larger, like so. Then right click somewhere between the first and second keyframe and choose Create Motion Tween. Do the same between the second and third keyframes. This will cause the apple to grow larger and then smaller as the word is spoken. We will repeat this process for each of the other fruits. Insert a keyframe at the start of the new sound. Insert another keyframe at the end of the sound, and another somewhere in the middle. Select the fruit. Use the handles to resize the fruit, and then right-click between the keyframes and create a motion tween. That's our animation complete.
Pomme, orange, banane.